vaccin COVID-19 la disponible konye ya pour ti bébé 6 mois ou soit ti moun qui pi grand.
Ak toute information kap sikile, li normal pour parents gen question sur effet à long terme vaccin.
Mais ça expert yo connaît.
Scientifiques ont fait gros recherche sur vaccin COVID-19 sa yo, plus passé n'importe quel autre vaccin dans l'histoire.
Dernier étude ont montré que ti bébé 6 mois ou soit ti moun qui pi grand qui recevoir vaccin COVID-19 gen en pile chance pour ne pas faire face à aucun problème grave.
Si tu as un effet secondaire, yo pas grave.
Et puis en général, ça a privé dans le premier jour ou soit dans la première semaine après yo fin prendre vaccin.
Pendant le virus là a changé avec nouveau variant qui ka vini,
Données ont montré que le vaccin COVID-19 yo continue bail protection.
Et puis aider à empêcher maladie grave, interner l'hôpital. Acclamons.
même genre avec tout l'autre vaccin, scientifiques continuent à faire recherche sur l'efficacité et puis contrôler toute qualité et effets secondaires.
Si vous avez plus de questions, parlez avec Dr. Pitito. Et puis tout, apprendre plus dans mass.gov/COVID-vaccine.
I'm welcoming viewers around the world, viewers all over the social media, and viewers in Massachusetts. My name is Ronald and I'm presenting the show called Integration. Integration is the show coming to you from the partnership between MOSAIC Public Media and MCTV, which is Multicultural Television Network. We bring the show to the audience in order to be informed and also to be educated about what's going on in the community and people who are working in the community in order to bring either resources, either other information that can help them, you guys, to make informed decisions. In that idea, we have with us today Monique, who is from the mayor's office. She's the director of the Immigrant Advancement. Welcome, Monique.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And it's your first time in our platform. And how about just a brief introduction about yourself so the audience can know who is Monique?
Hi, everyone back in home and also here, Ronald. Thank you so much for having me. So I think I'm on day 48 of my job. So I just stepped into the role of director at the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement. And before I stepped into this role, I was a director of Matahari Women's Worker Center, where I organized women working in low-wage industries for almost 13 years, and multiracially. And a lot of our members were Haitian women. So working with Haitian women to develop their leadership and also other immigrant women to advance rights. And before that, what inspired me to even get into the work were my family. My parents were Vietnam War refugees, and just growing up in a very immigrant household, just seeing how much perseverance and courage that they had just to come to America and seek out survival and build the economic drive of a lot of communities was really why I'm inspired to help other immigrants that are like my family.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's great for the audience to know who you are. And now the Office of Immigrant Advancement, what is it do? What do you do, guys? So people they can, understand your work.
So the office has evolved over many years. I believe it's two decades established almost, and it was established as an office for new Bostonians, but now it's called the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement, and it focuses now mostly on advocacy and constituent services and doing a lot of relationship building with community-based organizations to meet the needs of immigrant communities in the Boston area.
And I know you started in August, right? In August?
Yes, August 16th. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so far, it's when you start a job, it's you're learning the culture, you're learning things to do and things probably what needs to be improved. So how is it so far, how is the let's say, the learning process in terms of doing your job?
It's been a wild boot camp, I would say. I really stepped into not only in this new inspirational administration under Mayor Wu, but also in this unprecedented moment in time where the world is recovering from COVID, and also economically here in Boston, we're looking at what does a new future look like for Boston. There are many things that COVID really revealed that was inequitable, especially disproportionately impacting immigrants, and something that my office is really making sure that we don't take that lightly and become very strategic about how we move forward to help immigrant communities recover from this time. And so I'm looking at that long view of what it could look like in 10, 20 years for immigrant communities. And also getting rid of the things that weren't helpful for immigrant communities before, that made it really hard for immigrants, like isolation, building more community, economic injustice, or exploitation that was presented to immigrants just because of who they are. So I'm looking at that too. But I'm sure the community, you are aware of, you've been seeing immigrants trying to come into the country to seek asylum, and humanitarian support from Americans here to bring them in and provide friendly neighborhood a welcome, and but you've probably also seen all the harms and the trauma that they went through just trying to get here, and even the political warfare that's happening right now in this country, especially with what's happening in Martha's Vineyard. So we've been doing a lot in the city, trying to do emergency planning to prepare the city in response in the event that we are seeing new arrivals here in large amounts overnight, but also thinking about the long-term planning and integration and support for immigrants before, but also the immigrants that are coming every day.
Okay. As you know, the show is integration. So is the office you work directly with individuals, or how is the structure in terms of either let's say immigrant businesses, or the structure? How the individual immigrants, they can reach out to the office, and what for?
Yes, so we have multiple streams of how we support immigrant communities, from the individuals to organizations to even different governments that support immigrant communities. And so for individuals to even get immigration consultation, we can connect them with lawyers that can help them assess what their needs are, and they can hire them if they're needed. And then there's a email that we have, and we can put it on the screen, that you can email us, immigrantadvancement@boston.gov, and then also a phone number we're sharing too on the screen. And so we have those resources on an ongoing basis for immigration consultation. I know that's a big need. And then also on a regular basis throughout the year, we might have different events or drives, depending on what the needs are, around back to school supplies, or even community events, depending on what surfaces. And we also work with a network of community-based organizations that serve immigrant communities, like English for New Bostonians, that support with English classes, to Project Citizenship, that focuses on helping people become naturalized citizens if they have green card status, and then they just don't know what the next step is. So there's different ways for organizations and individuals to connect with us. But just reach out through email and phone, and we'll figure out a way to reconnect.
Okay, thank you. And all the viewers, you're still listening to Integration. And as I say, Integration is the show bringing to you with the partnership between MCTV and MOSAIC Public Media. My name is Ronald, and I'm going to continue with the conversation with Monique, who is the Director of Immigrant Advancement at the City Hall, the Mayor's Office. So we know Boston is diverse in terms of, different communities. How does your office make the balance in terms of reaching out to different communities?
So what's great is that we're able to use data and to determine which communities are the most majority in our communities. So Haitian communities are one of the top of the, I would say maybe in 8 communities that are in Boston from Dominican Republic, Cabo Verde, also with China and Vietnamese folks. So those are the amongst, for us, it's like we really try to work with people whenever they reach out to us and we see what the needs are. A lot of communities who may be more established that won't need that much of our support, or newer communities that don't have much of a network or community-based organizations to help them. So we try to equitably support them and help them build the infrastructure to meet their needs. And for me, I'm looking for the future to be more our work and also the field work to be more multicultural. I think in the past, whenever there was a lot of historical waves of immigrants coming through, there wouldn't be much like layering at the same time. And in this moment, the immigrants that are coming now are very diverse, and it's very unpredictable which folks will end up staying here in Boston. So for me to be more nimble and is to preparing the whole field, and also our office to be very multiracial and multicultural, and to look at the immigrant community as a whole.
And probably right now you're kind of doing some assessment, about, the role and the needs. And do you have some priorities right now in terms of, program you want to either introduce or you've been working on?
So one of the things I really want to make sure that we have a lot more visibility around is our Immigrant Leads Boston program. So it's an immigrant leadership development. So we select diverse immigrant leaders in the community who want to advance their skills in their leadership roles. And they might have very informal roles working in other organizations or being very knowledgeable people in the neighborhoods. And we recruit people every season, and the average cohort is about 20 people. And they go through a 10-week program to develop their leadership and learn deeply about how they can maximize the resources and understand the city very well, for them to become civic leaders through the city as well, and navigate the resources that we have. Because there's a lot of resources, but because there's so many, it's actually hard to know which strategically to use at what time and who to talk to, and how to effectively plan out the resourcing needs. So we're hoping to train people up in that way, and I think this is the third cohort that we have right now, and we have another cohort happening in the spring, and we will likely recruit every year. And what I'm hoping from that is that they become leaders to develop other leaders, so it becomes more powerful. One thing that the Chief of Equity Inclusion, Chief Mariangeli Solis Corvera, she says that the rate of inequity is so fast that we can't scale up the rate to suppress the inequity, right? So for me, when I think about that, the only way we can get that through is through more leadership development and more people getting involved. Because with, despite having so much diversity and leadership now, there's just not enough leaders to be doing the work. So we need to bring more people in fast. Yeah. So that's important to me, and especially as we're planning a lot of response about with the emergency around new immigrants coming to the area and the humanitarian crisis that comes with that. How do we also as a community develop the leadership of people, everyday people, to help one another, And for me to actually use my power and my role to bring resources to those community groups to do the work.
I like the way you say to use your power in order to help. And so far, do you see any kind of challenges, anything that you have to overcome? Yeah,
there's I think because of the sticky period that we are as a society, we are seeing that capacity is a huge struggle with all industries around labor workforce capacity. So in the nonprofit field to even for-profit industries and even government, there's a labor shortage of people actually able to do the work. So that's the biggest challenge that I'm looking at this time is there's not enough people to do work. I mean, there's a lot of roles. And for me, I'm thinking, this could be also an opportunity. Who's always historically been the ones to also fill in large labor gaps? Immigrants, right? So for me, I'm thinking what could be an efficient and powerful way for immigrants to not only fill jobs but also raise labor standards. Because historically, also immigrants were the ones who would take the lower pay, or actually would get harmed and exploited because of who they were and felt disempowered. So, if anything, I'm hoping immigrants could be honored as the heroes they've always been, and help America recover, and also for them to contribute to the American fabric to tie us all together.
Okay. So during your time, like when I say during your time, like in Boston, have you picked up some languages so far with the immigrants community?
Yeah, so I've I've been trying to learn Spanish for a long time, so that's been really helpful for me because I've been able to. I've spoken Vietnamese my whole life, but there was a period whenever, actually Vietnamese is my first language, even though I was born in Canada, because of my family was so intensely Vietnamese, I was surrounded by adult Vietnamese people for a long time. But whenever I started going to school, I started losing my Vietnamese because I was learning English. So actually, when I first moved to Boston, it was actually my priority to be immersed in around more Vietnamese people. You know, and so I sharpened my Vietnamese again, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with the immigrant and Vietnamese community now in my role, but also sharpening my Spanish, and that's been really helpful. And I actually learned some Haitian words along the way too, but I'm actually really shy right now, so don't ask me.
Well, I know a little bit about Vietnamese.
Oh, yes.
And a little Spanish too.
Okay.
So
That's great.
yeah, that's great. So now, if you would like to say something to the audience who are listening to this, conversation we just had, something that can make them understand not only the work, but it's like you advertising for more visibility for your department. What would you say to the audience?
So I would like to share that the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement is looking to become more expansive in our community approach, and everything that we do, from planning our policies that matter to the immigrant community to even planning how we use our budget effectively to serve immigrant communities, we need your leadership and your voice and being connected. And also chipping in, because a lot of times in this society we're trained a lot to see all the negatives, but we're not given many opportunities to see all the beautiful things that we can build together. So this is an open invitation for immigrants and all the viewers here that don't let the dominant narrative, what people are saying about immigrants, or the oppositional narrative, is that that we're here and trying to take resources or jobs, and it's actually we're the ones creating jobs and making jobs and also helping other people as well. So our office is here to build the resources and power and the needs of immigrants, and please reach out to us.
Okay. Well, thank you, Monique, for being in our platform. We believe it's not it's not the last time you will be joining us as you move along to your job, and we can have like more in depth, conversation regarding the what you've been doing. And I'm gonna say, all the viewers, it has been a pleasure for me to present the show. My name is Ronald, and I will see you for the next show.
Vaccin COVID-19 la disponible konye ya pour ti bébé 6 mois ou soit ti moun ki pi grand.
Ak toute informasyon kap sikile, li normal pou paran gen kesyon sou efè a long terme vaksin yan.
Men sa ekspert yo konnen.
Scientifiques yo te fait gros recherche sur vaccin COVID-19 sa yo, plus passé n'importe qui l'autre vaccin dans l'histoire.
Denye etid yo montre ke ti bébé 6 mois ou soit ti moun ki pi grand ki recevoir vaksin COVID-19 gen an pile chance pour yo pa fè face à aucun problème grave.
Si ta gen effet secondaire, yo pas grave.
Et puis en général, ça a privé dans le premier jour ou soit dans la première semaine après yo fin prendre vaccin.
Pendant virus la ap changé ak nouveau variant ki ka vini,
Données yo montré que vaccin COVID-19 yo continue bay protection.
Et puis aider à empêcher maladie grave, interner l'hôpital. Acclamons.
même jan ak tout l'autre vaccin, scientifiques yo continue faire recherche sur efficacité et puis contrôler toute qualité effet secondaire.
Si vous avez plus de questions, parlez avec Dr. Pitito. Et puis tout, apprendre plus dans mass.gov slash COVID vaccine.